Welcome back to Eintracht Frankfurt, the Bundesliga podcast covering everything there is to know in the English language about Eintracht Frankfurt. A little bit different episode today. I am Chris here in Michigan, right in the middle of the Mitten State. I'm running solo today, and this is a little bit different. I'm going to be honest, it's tough. It's fun to talk about sports. It's fun to talk about Eintracht Frankfurt. It's hard to talk about it alone. It's just, sports are meant to be a communal thing, but you know what? Lives are busy. My other hosts are not able to be here tonight. I got the house to myself for a few minutes. So I'm going to run you down the penultimate week in the Bundesliga, look ahead to the final week for both the men's and women's sides. And yeah, we'll see where it takes us. So ways you can get in contact with the show, of course, HEFpod.com, run by myself. I'm working on it. It's getting better every week, but we've had incredible success with our statistics zone this year from our partners over at Sport Monks, bringing us all the data for that. As someone said recently, our data is better than ESPN. That's not a joke. It's better. It's faster. And for the second week in a row, we had record viewership in the statistics zone, watching the live tables all across Germany's top leagues, men's and women's. It's been a fun project to work on. I'm really glad people are enjoying it. We're going to make even more improvements and bring it back better next year. But of course, that's HEFpod.com. All of our socials are on there to get in contact with the show. On Instagram at Eintracht Frankfurt, on X, formerly Twitter, at HEFpod. And there's others. Our 24-hour Discord chat, which is also link available at the top of HEFpod.com. And of course, I'm Chris here in Michigan. You can find me on all the social media feeds at C&the-D313. Just got done with a fantastic workout. I am really, really looking forward to this episode. I got a treat later on, a little take that is well-deserved for some people that deserve shout-outs this week, and we're going to get to that in a bit. But right now, we got to look at the week that was. Eintracht Frankfurt, the men's side first on Saturday, going to Borussia Monchengladbach, Borussia Park. Tough place to play. We'll leave it at that. Results that, we wanted the result. So there were two teams going into this one with two different things going on. First, for Gladbach, the ability to mark themselves safe from the relegation battle. They needed 3 points to do that. And on the other side, Frankfurt needed 3 points to lock up sixth spot in the league with no opportunity for anyone to catch up with them. Why is that so critical? We'll talk about that a little bit later. Something that was unforeseen is now reasonably to be expected, but we'll get to that part in a little bit. Anyway, what happened at Borussia Park? Well, you kind of had the feeling that one team was out to really play with their asses on fire because the fire was up against them and they had no choice but to defend their home park. And that's basically what Gladbach did. They took it to Eintracht early on, kind of a little feeling each other out. Each team had a chance early on. But almost out of nowhere in the 9th minute, the Gladbach keeper takes a free ball from inside his own box, plays it long, really long up the left touch line. And of course, as always, the American has to bite Eintracht while we're down. Winger Joe Scally, who's featured with the men's national team here for the U.S., not exactly a guy that's got jets on the bottom of his boots, but he did this time. And he took it into the box, just played a nice ball back to the trailer coming into the box. Very clinical pass to Robin Hack, who put it between the near side post and Kevin Trapp. Nothing really Trapp can do about that. He's moving right to left, and the ball goes back to the right. I'm not even mad that it happened. Just kind of the way in which it played out was not favorable given where things were at that point in a 50-50 game. And then, how do they respond? How do they recover? Battle of two teams trying to secure something. Eintracht had to respond, right? How do you respond? Well, go to the guy who's been hot for the last couple weeks now. Hugo Ekitike, he's continuing to get better and better. He looks more comfortable. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with him this summer. I think, spending a summer in the system, the summer with his teammates and getting comfortable in a new country, in a new environment for him to develop, I really think it's an opportunity for him to take things to the next level. And he was critical in this one too. Because when Eintracht finally settled in, got some pressure up high, there's a lazy clearance up the middle from a Gladbach midfielder. Ebimbe gallops in at full stride, kind of like he usually does on the side. He comes up the middle this time, picks the ball up maybe 30 yards out, takes a couple dribbles, passes the ball through the legs of a defender, right to Ekitike, who made a nice one-touch heel pass back to Ebimbe, still in full stride, and he slots it away to the left side. Just really, it looks simple. When you think about the steps they took to create this goal, it looks simple. But then as a player, you try to do it in real time at full speed with defenders and the chaos in the box. It was really a beautiful play. One of the goals of the week through the league, the pass through the defender's legs, that could be considered a kind of a lucky break that it fell the way it did. But the instinct from Ekitike, knowing he didn't have time for a full touch, he couldn't take the ball with him, there was no opportunity for a shot, just to play it back, because he's the kind of guy with his creativity, he draws a lot of attention. And knowing he was going to get that, just simply dropping it back and letting Ebimbe run through the ball, really an outstanding finish. And we've talked a lot about how the middle 20 minutes of the match has really been a critical time. I mean, it is in every match. It's not a Frankfurt thing, but we've lost too many matches on that, or lost leads at that point in the match. I thought we did a really good job in the middle 20 of this match, playing our best ball of the day. Now, it didn't end up leading to a win. The strong play in the first half carried over to the second. We couldn't score any goals, but for the first 10 minutes, it seemed like a matter of when, not just if Eintracht would get a winner. But it wasn't the case. The final 30 minutes was kind of uninspired, but it was uninspired from both sides. And if you're going to play bad, make sure the other team plays bad too. It's been stressful all year, dropping points to teams at the bottom of the table. We've dropped way too many. Garrett did an analysis in our Discord chat after the match, and it's a little bit frustrating where this team has struggled to put up points against bad teams. But you know what? That's the way it is sometimes. It's been one of those years where we couldn't get out of our own way, and this is another one where the statistics say we were by far the better side and should have won. To take 17 shots to the 6 from Gladbach, but only put 2 on target compared to their 3, that's unacceptable. That's the kind of thing that's got to be corrected in the offseason, and progress has to be made next year. Regardless of who the manager is, that's a discussion for a different day. To statistically play the way we did and then come up with nothing really shows a lack of creativity in the final third, which we've talked about as well. This is nothing new. It's rinse, wash, repeat on this podcast, because that's exactly the style of play this team has shown. And it's been a little bit frustrating, but I'm going to have more to cover on the men's situation later in this episode when we bounce around the Bundesliga. That's all I can really say about it at this point without giving out my tease for the entire second half. So let's move on here to the Monday effort from the Frauen. Of course, Sunday was Mother's Day here in the United States. Shout out to all the mothers, the soccer moms, and the mother figures taking players to games all over the country. And of course, that's no different in our house, where my daughter's Cap City athletic team went up to Mount Pleasant and played a hell of a match for their moms and put a nice win on the table with a tournament next weekend and the season. On a bright side, this is not the Cap City podcast, but I'm damn proud of my kid and her mother, who is doing an outstanding job. So happy Mother's Day to all the soccer moms and all the moms out there who do what they do so well. So then Monday, May 13th, Eintracht Frankfurt Frauen, in their last home match of the season, Matchday 21 in the Frauen Bundesliga. So this one was a little bit different, where the men's side had two teams with a lot on the line. This one had one team with something on the line, and that was the Eagles. Frankfurt came into the match needing one single point to mathematically qualify for Champions League and not have to look behind them at all. Freiburg being lower in the table shouldn't have been a difficult task. As things go this season with both sides, what doesn't seem to be a tall task sometimes is. It was Bundesliga match number 100 for Geraldine Reuteler, Bundesliga match 150 for manager Nico Arnautis, and the final match for several Eintracht players leaving this summer, including Verona Hanshaw, Carl Basel, and Shakira Martinez, a couple others. These things are weird because, in this case, there was a long ceremony at the start. I was a little worried about that derailing momentum. I thought it was smart to drag Freiburg out there and do that long ceremony with both teams standing on the touchline. Because if we're going to be dragged through the emotions, make them stand there and wait it out too. But actually, Freiburg wasn't fazed at all by that, because less than 5 minutes into the match, they drew a penalty just outside the box. I don't know. There was a yellow card given. It didn't affect it. There was definitely a foul there. I didn't like that a card was given 5 minutes into the match, and a very questionable call. This official was horribly inconsistent, but as most inconsistent officiated matches go, it went against both teams. So I can't complain a whole lot about that. But the finish from the Freiburg striker, Harsrat Kaishi, was absolutely clinical, went around the wall with it. I thought the wall was poorly placed. Doesn't matter. She took advantage of it. Really well done. But that was about it from Freiburg. They hung around. They got a couple other looks, shots that went wide. I think there was one or two that may have gotten the posts, or Stina may have pushed them over with her hand. It was a little too close for comfort in the first 15 minutes. But in the 15th, Verona Hanshaw took a corner. Laura Freigang did what Laura Freigang does. She made no question of the header, putting it inside the near post, really turning the match in Eintracht's favor. We've been waiting for Freigang to turn things on recently, and she did that, no questions asked, just a dominating performance from her. She wasn't done with that goal. We'll get to more in a minute here. But yeah, after that goal in the 15th, things evened out a little bit. Frankfurt got on the front foot. In the 34th minute, again from a corner. The women's side is prolific on the corners compared to the men's side. Eintracht takes advantage of casual marking in the box. Chiba picks the ball up and fires it across the goal. From that position, you see a lot of shots near post. She went far post and put it on the far wall. Outstanding shot. Keeper had no chance at the ball. And like the men, the last 10 minutes of the half was theirs. And they turned a poor start around and kind of poured it on at the end of the first half. I thought Freiburg was a little bit lucky to get to the half down only 2-1. But in the second half, there was no letting off the gas. In the 55th minute, we had a vintage Laura Freigang moment, taking the Freiburg defender into the box on her heels at a high rate of speed, just kind of breaking her down. A crossover from left to right, almost like an NBA style crossover where she faked left with her shoulders and then brought the ball back to the right. The defender was crossed up and she shot back towards the near post. When Laura Freigang's playing well, she's unbeatable one-on-one and no one's going to stop her. And she did it here. She showed again why we love her so much. It's been a frustrating year for her. We put so much expectations on her shoulders, fair or unfair. That's what you get when you're that prolific. And she showed up in this one, and there was no doubt she was thinking Champions League, and it was pedal to the metal after that point. In the 85th, Geraldine Reutler, her final touch of the match, puts a ball away. And there was a couple moves before that and a couple after, but, I felt like Nico, who's always slow to make substitutions anyway, took a little too long for the farewell substitutions to get made. But it was good to see the 5 changes made, with the departing people coming out, like Hanshaw getting her recognition from the crowd, Martinez coming on, and even Cara Basel coming on for Stina Johannes. Really cool to send those players off in style. The last match of the season, not having a lot riding on it. Players can go out, have some fun, and it is what it is for them. At the end of the season, they've officially qualified for Champions League play with that 4-2 victory over Freiburg. It's those 90th minute plus goals, the who the hell care goals. There was one scored last weekend when the referee let it go way too late. Another garbage time goal here. And Laura Freigang just kind of throws her arms up like, why hasn't the whistle blown yet? It didn't matter, though. Champions League is secure. The women are going through. And we're going to have a lot on this one in the season recap, because ideas are split on whether they underachieved or achieved exactly what they should have. I'm not going to tip my hand because I haven't thought a lot about it yet. But officially, the Frauen Bundesliga, everything is set. Matchday 22 will just be for fun. Bayern, the champions, Wolfsburg, and Eintracht Frankfurt headed to Champions League as well. And relegated are Nuremberg and Duisburg, who is still winless on the season. The only team in the league with 0 wins on the sheet right now. We'll see. Maybe they can pick one up. Final match of the year, they play Nuremberg. So if there was ever an opportunity for them to pick one up, that would be it. But we'll have more on the Frauen in our season recap later on. A little bit of roster news. We did sign an under-20 keeper, Lena Altenberg from the Eintracht under-20 squad, German U19 keeper. She'll replace Cara Basel moving on after this season. So, a little bit of order coming together as far as the signings. But yeah, that's about it for the Frauen season until our recap. We're going to get back into the men's side in the second half of this show. I told you it's exhausting hearing myself talk. I appreciate you guys dealing with it. But now we're going to talk about my favorite subject, and that's hashtag what are we drinking? There's a saying, you shouldn't drink alone. I'm not drinking alone because you're at the other end of this and you're probably sipping a beverage, unless you're Eddie out there in Ireland who's probably driving, and, we don't promote that around here. So Eddie, enjoy your coffee while I'm here enjoying a Labatt Blue Light. It is playoff hockey season, and I'm a hockey fan, and that's the hockey beer of Hockey Town, is the Labatt Blue. So that's what I'm enjoying here tonight in mid-Michigan as I got the NHL playoffs on in the background. And we talk Eintracht Frankfurt here in episode 314. We'll be back in segment 2 where we look around the Bundesliga and what's coming up this weekend. Prost. Welcome back to segment 2, Hey Eintracht Frankfurt, episode 314. I am a solo flying eagle tonight. Chris here in mid-Michigan. Right now we're going to bounce around the Bundesliga a little bit after 33 match days. Actually, let's start in the 2 Bundesliga. The Zweite Liga, my German is awful, concludes this weekend as well. And historically, this is the match to watch. The matchup in the second division is always going down to the wire. I can't think of the last time there was a runaway situation whether it was the top position or the top 3 positions. It's really an outstanding race year after year. And this year is no different. There's 2 teams left with a chance to win the title. FC St. Pauli holds a slim 1-point lead over Holstein Kiel, who this last weekend earned their first promotion in club history. Outstanding video of the supporters there. Just the feeling. I mean, I know what it feels like to have Eintracht Frankfurt promoted, but also we've done that elevator up and down a few times over the years. To be a fan of a club who's never felt that first division feeling. I can't imagine what those fans were going through, the images in the stands, much like it was for Union Berlin a couple of years ago. Just really, no matter who you're a fan of, it really makes you feel good. And that's what the game is all about. Feeling that way and hugging your friends and your family. Just a really cool moment for those fans. And what it means for that region certainly means a lot. And another region where there's a lot of feelings right now is Hamburg, with FC St. Pauli being promoted. That promotion is guaranteed. Not sure yet about the title, but HSV, the larger of the 2 sides in the city, are left out again. After having never been relegated, they've now failed to be promoted every single season since the relegation in 2018. And it's a little tough. They're a traditional club. They're an old one. But I don't have any sympathy either. They've been in position so many times, and when you don't close it out, that's on you. There's nobody that can change that but you taking care of business. They lost this past weekend. They've lost 2 of their last 5. They dropped points in 3 of their last 5. And that's just not going to get it done when you're trying to get promoted. So the top 3 are secure in Dusseldorf, Kiel, and St. Pauli. It's just a matter of what order 1 and 2 will be. Looking at what's going on this weekend in that title race, FC St. Pauli plays on the road at Wiesbaden, and Holstein Kiel plays at Hanover. So, situation where if I'm giving it a prediction here, which I hadn't really thought of until I pressed record here, I think St. Pauli playing over Wiesbaden, who's in a battle for that relegation playoff spot at the bottom, is a little concerning. A team playing for a title or a team playing for their relegation lives, that's a heck of a storyline there. The other one being Kiel and Hanover. Hanover's no pushover at 6 right now. They don't have anything to play for, but they would love to be spoilers. So I don't know which way that one's going to go. I think St. Pauli does enough to get it done. Wiesbaden will be overmatched. Haven't won a game in their last 5. So I'm going to go with St. Pauli for the title this weekend if I'm guessing on a win. And then to the Bundesliga, where this last weekend came as a bit of a shock to us Eintracht Frankfurt fans. We went into Matchday 33 thinking that we had the 6th place all but sealed up. And we'll see what happens in the Champions League, how that affects that position, whether it will be Europa League or Champions League, who the hell knows. But, oh, wait a minute. Some chaos happened around the table, and it directly affects us. So we've had this pesky club called Hoffenheim. You may have heard of them. They were sitting a million goals behind us in goal differential. Well, they go out against a very lowly Darmstadt side who's already relegated. There's no way out of that for them. But they go into Darmstadt and put up a 6-0 scoreline. So they're back to -2. And with our draw at Gladbach, we're sitting at a +1 on the goal differential side. So all of a sudden, things are looking a little bit tighter. With 1 match left on the season, we're looking at a 3-goal difference to be made up and 3 points. So what does that mean on the weekend? I'm going to give you the prediction right now before I get into a little special feature here. But you have Frankfurt hosting Leipzig, and you've got Hoffenheim hosting Bayern. I like our chances there. Bayern doesn't have anything to play for anymore. They're just out to make everyone miserable. And I would love to see them give it to Hoffenheim. Never cheering for Bayern, but results in our favor would be nice. But all we got to do is take 1 point against Leipzig. 1 point. If you cannot do that with what is on the line, you don't deserve to play in Europe. I mean, we're playing in Europe regardless, whether it's Conference League if we fall somehow mathematically, or if we stay in that 6th spot, which we've been in for the last 5 months, 6 months now. If you cannot pick up 1 point at home on the last match day of the season, you probably don't deserve whatever was coming. So the opportunity exists out there for that 6th spot to end up as a Champions League spot if Dortmund wins the Champions League final. But we're not going to look ahead of ourselves. If that happens, we'll discuss it when we get there. Right now, you need 1 point to be secure. That's it. Lose to Leipzig, then we have to, with all the matches being played at the traditional time slot on Saturday, then we got to be on the phone talking to the people over in Hoffenheim, checking the scores, what's going on. I don't want to be in that position. I don't think these players do. They've been through enough this year. Take care of business and let's move on. It's a frustrating spot to be in, given it's weird. The instability of the year has ironically been our stable 6th position that we've been in since before Christmas. I want a statistician out there to tell me if anyone's ever sat in one table spot, relatively mid-table like that, where spots are usually jumping around. It's not like you're sitting at 1 or 18, which are usually steady. But this has just been a weird year. I personally am ready for it to be over. It's been a long time since we really knew who we were. And we're going into match day 34, still not knowing who we are or what to expect. In this one, all that matters is 1 point. We'll get back to that one in a minute, though. Here I want to talk in our special segment about 2 very special people. This will match officially the final match as Eintracht Frankfurt players for Sebastian Rode and Makoto Hasebe. Two men that just, they wear the crest on their sleeve. They wear it on their heart. They are everything you want in a player from this club. And, for Rode, he's a one-time Offenbacher, made his way west on the Main and found, the grass was a little greener, suiting up in a different Schwarz-Weiß rolled kit. But he played 94 matches with Eintracht in his first stint with the club from 2010 to 14. He scored 4 goals in that time and then went to Bayern, went to Dortmund. I think it was there 4 or 5 seasons. He returns to Eintracht on loan in 2019, and then he signs for good. So he plays a final 119 matches at Eintracht. It's 200 matches, more than 200 matches for the Eagles, scoring 13 goals. Just a steady presence. Very frustrating at times, but steady. You knew what you were getting. And internationally, he played 12 matches for German teams as a youth. He's a 2-time Bundesliga champion with Bayern, a 2-time Pokal champion, 1 with Bayern, 1 with Dortmund. Most importantly, he's a European champion. He literally gave his blood for Eintracht in the opening moments of that UEFA League final in 2022 in Sevilla. He took a boot to the face, literally a boot to the face, and came back from it. He played with a wrap on his head, just everything you could ask for and more. If he left that match and never came back, I would have been okay with it. It's what most of us would have done. But that's why he's there, and I'm sitting here in my basement drinking beer talking about it. He is that great of a human. He's that great of a player. That's not even my most proud moment, though. My most proud moment was after Eintracht wins the Europa Cup and the parade's over and they're at the rally at the Romer, and the politician's walking through the hallway with the cup, and he's going to go out on the balcony with it with the team. And Rona walks up to him, takes that trophy back, like, screw you, dude. We earned this. But that moment is, funny as it is, because players over politicians always. But the team meant everything to him. And he wasn't going to let Rangers take that from him. And he wasn't going to let that politician take that moment from his teammates either. For me, that was a really special moment, hearing him on the microphone, talking to the supporters in the square. That was a really special moment. Just a really special player, and one that we're going to miss. He was kind of made of glass in recent years, but I think when he was out there, and even when he wasn't out there, he was the spiritual heart and soul of that group. And I really, really am going to miss him out there. And then the other player, which, how do you one up what Sebastian Roda's meant? Well, there's another player playing his final match with Eintracht this year, and that's Makoto Hasebe. Saturday will be his final match, and he's an Eintracht legend too. He's also a Bundesliga legend. He won a championship with Wolfsburg. He played one season in Nuremberg. He represented Japan internationally 114 times over the span of 12 years. He scored 2 goals with them. With Eintracht, he made 3 DFB Pokal final appearances, hoisted the trophy in 17-18, a UEFA Europa League champion, of course, along with Roda in 21-22. For all the things I said about Sebastian Roda, you might be able to double that for Makoto Hasebe. Now, I don't recall him ever giving blood, but I'm sure he has. And that man, whether it's on the pitch, off the pitch, just a special individual. He is a player who is everyone that you want your team to be. When you look at, the way that he carries himself, the way he practices, watching videos of Eintracht Frankfurt practice, Makoto Hasebe plays it like he's playing in a game. I have not seen him take a moment off. And when he gets out there on the pitch, whether he's starting, whether he's coming off the bench, or whether he's just giving instruction to players, you can see there's coaching in his future. And I know he's already been offered a job. He plans to stay in the organization after his playing time. The man has earned it, and he's doing everything the right way. I got his kit this year. I knew it was going to be his last year, and I had to have that on my wall. And I'm going to wear it this weekend, and I might actually cry a little bit, because it kind of feels like the end of a generation with these two going, the two constants from this modern era. I guess we can throw Timothy Chandler in there too, but I guess he's coming back for a farewell year next year. Roda and Hasebe are two guys that really, with all the changes in the lineup over the last 4 or 5 years, they've been the steady ones. They've been the presence throughout who could be relied on when things go downhill to stand up and make a change in the way things are going. So hopefully they're the ones leading the charge Saturday. There's still a lot to play for. I don't know how Dino Topmuller is going to handle that lineup, whether he's going to give them the start, let them come off the bench. Roda's certainly not fit to play 90. Hasebe probably not either. However he does it, I know that those supporters there, the ultras, are going to do their choreo and their tifo, and every bit of it will be deserved for those two. And if we could end it with a big result, a winning result, so that they can either leave the pitch or enter the pitch with that, knowing that that's secure, would be a great thing. As far as predictions, it's going to be an emotional day, as I almost got here emotional in my own basement. Matchday is going to be 10 times that. And I'm not sure that's something that this group is ready for. So I think we're going to end up with a 1-1 result, which would be enough for what we need. Just probably not the way we'd like to get it done. But you know what? It doesn't matter at this point. Take care of business, get your point, move on to whatever European competition is going to be next year. And then we got Monday, not giving a big in-depth Frauen preview. Eintracht Frankfurt Frauen at Koln Monday. It's 9:30 a.m. here in the USA. That one there are 3 Frauen Bundesliga streams Monday on dazn.com, available here in the United States. They're going to pound Cologne. I'm going to go with a 4-0 final in a match that means absolutely nothing. All eyes are on the men's side this week, and we're hoping for the best. With Hoffenheim playing Bayern this weekend, I don't think there's any chance that we're overtaken. But be what it is, it's been a chaotic season. I wouldn't expect anything less than chaos on Matchday 34. So I'm going to go with a 1-1 result for Eintracht Frankfurt against Leipzig. I hope we can hold on to that. It would be nice to take those points in the final match day, or that 1 point that would mean so much, and send off Rhoda and Hasebe in the way that they deserve. So that's all I got from here in my basement. It goes quick when you're flying by the seat of your pants solo, but we do what we got to do sometimes. We're looking forward to having a season-ending preview a season-ending review in the next couple of weeks here to talk about the season it was and what we look forward to over the summer. And of course, Eintracht Frankfurt coming here to the United States this summer. We'll be in Louisville, and we hope we'll see you there as well. We'll have a lot more coming out about that in the coming weeks. As always, I want to thank Nathan in St. Louis for his production work. Outstanding as always. I appreciate everything that he does. Of course, Brian for putting all of this together, for taking care of everything in the background and keeping us going. Of course, the branding by Miles, as always. We got the best logo in all of Bundesliga podcasting, and that's thanks to him. And the musical talent of Tankard and Roy Hammer and Deep Pralinas. Outstanding songs by them. Outstanding editing by Nathan. Outstanding season. Eintracht Frankfurt headed back to Europe again. And where they go, we will talk about it on the next episode. Until then, cheers. I wouldn't expect anything less than chaos on Matchday 34. There's nobody that can change that but you taking care of business. Hey, Eintracht Frankfurt, la 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 la. Hey, Eintracht Frankfurt, la 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 la.